The final cut is a masterpiece, but the first draft is a war zone. This is between the frames. The image is burned into cinematic memory. Neo in his black trench coat, leaning back in impossible slow motion as bullets tear through the air around him. The camera doesn't just watch, it swoops in a graceful, impossible arc, freezing time while moving through space. This is bullet time, the visual signature of the Matrix. It feels like a seamless, digital magic trick, an effect so fluid you'd assume it was born entirely inside a computer. But the truth is far more chaotic. The first attempts to create it were a frantic scramble of physics, engineering, and near-crippling financial panic. The Wachowskis' vision required a camera move that simply couldn't be done with any single camera on Earth. The only solution was to use hundreds of them, and then invent the rest of the process from scratch. How did a shot that risked bankrupting the film's most important department become the very thing that made it a legend? The plan, at first, was purely abstract. The Wachowskis wanted to create a time slice or flowing time effect. It wasn't just about looking cool. It was about visualizing the character's control over the simulated reality of the Matrix. They wanted the audience to feel the superhuman perception of the heroes, to see the world as they did, a stream of malleable code. The initial concept was inspired by a simple, almost old-fashioned photographic technique, taking a ring of still photos of an object and then flipping through them quickly, like a flipbook, to create the illusion of rotation. But translating this simple idea into a dynamic cinematic shot proved to be a nightmare. Early tests were crude, almost comical. The team tried mounting a high-speed camera on a swinging pendulum, hoping to get a smooth, arcing shot. The result was wobbly, uncontrollably, and completely unusable. They experimented with a slit-scan photographic technique, famous for the Stargate sequence in *2001, A Space Odyssey*, but it produced a distorted, stretched-out image that lacked the crisp three-dimensional frozen world quality the directors demanded. The prototype footage was deeply underwhelming. It looked less like a revolutionary cinematic language and more like a cheap, glitchy video game effect from the era. Panic began to set in. With the shoot date looming, they had no reliable method to achieve the film's single most important visual idea. The entire philosophical core of the movie, the ability to see and manipulate the code of reality, hinged on this effect. Without it, the groundbreaking action sequences would feel conventional, the philosophy would feel disconnected from the visuals, and they'd be left with just another sci-fi film with a brilliant script but a generic look. The production was staring into the abyss. The intervention came from visual effects supervisor John Gita and his team at Mannix Visual Effects. Instead of looking for a single magic bullet, they proposed a revolutionary three-part hybrid approach. It was a fusion of old-school mechanics, digital processing, and virtual world-building. First came the physical rig, the backbone of the frozen moment. The team constructed a giant, circular metal rig, meticulously designed to hold 120 still photography cameras in a precise, computer-calculated arc. These weren't movie cameras. They were high-end Nikon F100s, each fitted with a custom, computer-controlled solenoid to trigger its shutter with near-perfect timing. Keanu Reeves would perform the iconic lean-back move in the center of this technological spiderweb. Then, on cue, the cameras would fire in a rapid cascading sequence, each one capturing a single, crystal-clear still image of the action from a slightly different angle, all within a fraction of a second. Step 2 was the digital scan, which created the time slice. Those 120 individual photographs were taken, developed, and then painstakingly scanned at high resolution into a computer. This is where the magic of temporal manipulation began. With the action broken down into 120 distinct moments in space, animators could now act like gods of time. They could choose which frames to use and for how long, stretching or compressing the duration between each still. By stringing these images together, they created the illusion of a virtual camera moving smoothly around a nearly frozen Neo. This process gave them absolute control over the speed and flow of the shot, allowing the camera to seemingly glide around the action while time itself was locked in place. But that only solved part of the problem. The still cameras only captured Keanu Reeves against a green screen. The entire background, the ornate lobby, the stone pillars, the pursuing agents was missing. This led to step 3, the virtual environment, the key to the impossible move. The team created a fully computer-generated 3D model of the entire rooftop set. Using the precise spatial data from the physical camera rig, they could perfectly replicate its path and motion within this virtual world. Then, they rendered the CGI background to match the perspective of each and every one of the 120 frames of Neo. The final shot was a composite, a seamless marriage of live-action photography and a digital world, allowing for that fluid, swooping camera move that was utterly impossible to achieve on a real set. The success of Bullet Time transformed more than just The Matrix*. It rewrote the rules of action filmmaking. It established a new visual vocabulary, popularizing the freeze frame spin around in everything from blockbuster movies and video games to TV commercials. It became an instant visual shorthand for heightened reality, superhuman speed, or a pivotal, dramatic moment. But while the directors had the vision, the unsung heroes were John Gita and the artists and engineers at Mannix. Their groundbreaking work in solving this Incredible Puzzle earned them a well-deserved Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. The creative lesson here is profound. Invention is a hybrid. Bullet time wasn't purely a digital effect, and it wasn't purely a practical one. It was the elegant, brilliant marriage of an old-school photographic principle, ring of still cameras with cutting-edge digital environment creation and image processing. It proved that the most groundbreaking solutions often exist in the hybrid space between the physical and the virtual. The risk was astronomical. The effect was incredibly expensive and consumed a huge portion of the VFX budget, all for a handful of shots. It was a massive gamble that this new technique would be the film's wow factor. That gamble didn't just pay off. It paid off spectacularly, defining the film's identity and cementing its place in cinematic history. The legacy of bullet time offers a powerful principle for any creator. Build the tool for the vision. The Wachowskis didn't scale back their ambitious idea because the technology didn't exist. Instead, their vision demanded that their team invent the technology. They refused to compromise, and that refusal forced innovation. It's a reminder to not let current technical limitations dictate your creative ambitions. Sometimes, the idea itself must be the catalyst that drives the invention of a whole new process. The most iconic moments in media are often born from this kind of necessary vision-driven invention. So what other film or game moment do you think required the invention of a completely new technique to be realized? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Between the Frames.